Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is Charan. In this video tutorial, I will show you in Django web applications how to implement multiple search functionality dynamically from MySQL PHP MyAdmin database. Now let's check the final output. Here we got the header tags. After that we got the options to search functionality, 2 radio button controls and 1 drop down list with the button control. Below that we got the table which displays all the records from this EMP table. Now let's search the records. I want to search the programmer only, male programmers only. If you check in the table, the occupation, the programmers, there are 3 programmers, 2 females and 1 male. So I'm expecting only 1 male. Click search. See here, 1 male. If you want to search the female programmer, see here we got the female programmers. Let's search for the HR female search. We don't have any female HRs here. So now let's search for the female HR, male HRs. See here we got the male HR.
If you are a first time visitor to my channel, please subscribe to get the latest updates.
Before creating a new Django web application, first we'll check the table in database. The table name is the EMP, which contains 5 columns: EMP ID, EMP name, gender, occupation and salary. Now my aim is I want to implement the multiple search functionality on this table in Django web application. So let's create a new Django web application. In order to create a Django web application, first we create a new folder. So I'm creating a new folder in E drive. Right click the mouse, click new and select folder. And the folder name is Django multiple search. Let's browse this folder. Right now this folder is totally empty. Now we'll create a new app in this folder. I'm using Visual Studio Code to create a Django web application. But before that, we need to add our folder which we have created in the E drive. For that, go to File and select Open Folder. The folder I have created in the E drive, and this is our application folder name. I've selected that one. And here the folder is successfully added to our Visual Studio Explorer panel. At the right side, we got the welcome page. Let's close this welcome page. Now we'll create a new app in this folder. For that, go to View and select Terminal. And here we got our terminal, which is nothing but a command prompt of PowerShell. And also notice the path is showing E drive. This is our folder which we have created in this just right now, Django multiple search. Now in this folder, I'm creating a new application, Django admin start project. The project name is multiple search. Multiple search is my application name. Notice here the multiple search application is created successfully. Let me expand this application. When I expand this application, there is one subfolder with the same project name and one manage.py. Let me allow to expand this subfolder also. When I expand this subfolder, notice there is some default Python files like settings.py, urls.py. All these files and folders has been created automatically when I create this application. Now after creating the application, now next step, we'll require one templates folder to add our HTML pages. So select the templates application name, right click the mouse, click new folder. The folder name is a templates, enter. Now in this templates folder, I'm adding one simple HTML page, index.html. And here we got our HTML page. Now before adding the designing part in this HTML page, first we'll add one models page in the subfolder of our application. Select the subfolder, right click the mouse, click new file. The file name is models.py. And here we got our models page. Now in this models page contains a class with the properties. So before adding a properties, first we require to import the models class from django.db import models. After that, let's define a class called emp model is a class name, models dot model colon. After that, I'm defining the properties for this table. In this table we have 5 columns, so I'm defining 5 properties. emp id is equals to models dot integer field, and this column is a primary key is true. Then next one is the employee name is equals to models dot cat field. Let's add the length of this field is equals to 100. After that, we'll add the next column name is gender. Copy this one, paste here, and the gender length is 1. The cat type I have given for this gender is a cat. For the gender, I have given the cat type is 1, male and female. And the next one is the occupation is equals to, and the last one is the salary is equals to models dot integer field. After that, I'm defining a new class called meta class, and in this meta class I'm defining the table name. Table is equals to these properties I have created for the table emp. Let's copy this page and here the table name. That's it. Let's save this file. Next step, we'll add one views page to our subfolder. Oops, here we got occupation double equals to, it's single equals to. Save this file again, save all. Now let's add one views page into this subfolder for application. Right click the subfolder, click new file. The file name is views.py, and here we got the views page. Now in this views page contains the actual logic to search the multiple records, but before that we need to import the necessary classes. The first class name I am importing the render class from Django dot. The render class is belongs to the shortcuts class, import render. The render class basically in Django applications, when we want to render the templates on the browser, we require this render class. After that, we require the models class also. My models page is inside this multiple search application name. So my application name, project name dot models import I'm adding the class name of the models, which is the emp model. Then let's define a function called multiple search search emp. I'm requesting. Now in this function, I'm adding the functionality for the multiple search. So we are posting the data if request dot method double equals to, between double quotes I'm adding post is capital here. Next let's define gender. I want to implement the search functionality on gender and occupation, so let's add gender is equals to request dot post dot get method. This post is capital letters, between single quotes I'm adding gender. The column name I'm adding here. Next one, the occupation is equals to request dot post dot get method, between single quotes I'm adding occupation. Then the next step, I'm adding a query for the multiple search functionality on this emp model, which is nothing but emp table. So first let's define emp object. Emp object is a variable. Emp model, my model class name dot objects dot raw method. In this raw method I'm adding the select query. Select start from, the table name is emp where gender is equals to, between double quotes again single quotes plus plus, the value, the gender value we are getting from this variable gender, and occupation is equals to double quotes and single quotes plus plus. The occupation value we are getting from this variable. That's it. After that, this function return render method. I'm requesting this page. The template name is index.html, comma. I'm implementing the dictionary for the parameters. Then the third parameter, I'm adding a dictionary between double curly brackets between double quotes. A dictionary contains a key and values. Here the key I'm adding the EMP model colon and the values we are getting from this object, EMP object. That's it. This functionality for after search the records will get the results. Now I'm adding else part, else EMP object is equals to EMP model dot objects dot raw select start from EMP. Instead of writing the same thing, let's copy this one and paste here. What I'm doing, this one is EMP search object. Let's copy this one and paste here. Let's save this file. Save all. Now open urls.py. From dot import views. Let's add a new path for our application. The new path, this path will become the default path, home page for our application. Use dot. I'm adding the multiple search. I'm requesting this index.html page with the help of this function name. So I'm copying that function and pasting here, comma. Let's save this file. Save all. After that, we open settings.py. In the settings.py, come to the bottom. First, let's install our application name in the settings.py. My application name is multiple search. Copy that one and paste here. Then come to the bottom in the directories os.path.join method. In the join method, I am joining my templates folder with the base directory. So base directory, comma, and second the path is the templates folder. Between single quotes, I am adding templates. This is a folder I am adding. All my HTML pages are inside this templates folder. After that, come to the bottom. Notice the database section. The default database engine is SQLite 3, but our database is MySQL. Let's delete this default database name. We'll add our database name is, I have created this table, EMP table, in this Charan database. See here the Charan database. Let's add the Charan database. After that, let's import user, the credentials we need to add, root, comma, and the password is equals to single quotes. I'm not adding any password here because I don't have any password to log into my PHP my admin database. If you have any password, please enter between these single quotes. Then we require to add the host name is a localhost, comma, and the port number is, let's find out our MySQL port number is 3308. Let's add that one between single quotes, 3308. After that, we require the options, colon, between single quotes. I'm initializing the command, colon, between double quotes. Let's set the SQL mode. I'm setting the SQL mode is equals to between single quotes, strict underscore trans underscore tables. Let's end with the comma. That's it. Let's save this file. Now switch to index.html to display the records. Let's first add the doc tag, close the HTML tag. Inside the HTML, I'm adding the header section. In the header section, we'll add the title tag. The title tag is multiple search. After that, we'll add the body tag. Inside the body tag, I'm adding the center tag. Inside the center tag, I'm adding h1 tag. How to search multiple how to implement multiple search functionality in Django. History, Django web tutorials. After that, I'm adding horizontal line. After the horizontal line, I'm adding a form tag, and this form tag contains a method property is a post. Then between double curly brackets percentage csrf underscore token. This command is very important. When we are posting data in Django applications, we need to add this csrf underscore token, otherwise you will get an error. The reason we are adding is it protects our data from the hackers when we are posting the data. So make sure add that command when you are implementing the method post, otherwise you will get an error. Then let's add a new table to display the records, and this table contains a border. I'm adding a border for this table, and table contains the table headers. Table headers is the employee ID. The second table header is the employee name. Table header is the next one is next column is a gender, occupation, and salary. Let's add those ones also. Gender, first one is a gender, occupation, table header is a salary. Then the records I want to fetch, then the records I'm getting from the database. So we have more than one record, so I'm using for loop to fetch the records. Percentage for result in the data we are getting from the dictionary key, which is a EMP model. Copy that one and paste here, and this one percentage. Let's close this for loop with end for. Let's add the tr, the td between double curly brackets. In this expression, I am adding result dot the results I want to display EMP ID. We need to add exact the column names what we have given in the table. Result dot EMP name, then td dot result dot occupation or gender. Then again between double curly brackets result dot occupation. The last td is for the salary, result dot salary. That's it. Let's save this file. Now the next step, after the csrf underscore token, I am adding the input element. Input type is equals to radio. To get the values, to enter the values, I'm using radio button. For the gender, value is equals to male, and the name is equals to. This property is very important for this input element. The name is, we need to add in the view space. Notice the gender. Copy this one. Whatever we have entered in this get method, we need to add here, and this one is the male. Pipe symbol I'm adding. Let's add for female, the value is F. After that, I'm using select element for the occupation. Select name is equals to, here the name also we need to add. For the name I'm adding occupation. The occupation values we are getting from the select element. The select element contains the option The first option is the label I'm adding, select occupation, and this option I'm disabling, selected disabled is equals to true. Then we require to add option. In this option I'm adding, in our table the occupation contains programmer, HR and sales. So let's add those ones. First I'm adding sales, option, programmer, and the last one is a HR. Only 3 occupations are there in our table. Let's save this file, save all. Now it's time to check the results on the browser. What I'll do is, after adding the select statement, I'm adding the horizontal line, and let's save this file now. Now before run this application, first we need to add this project name to this path cd. After adding the app to this path, now let's run the server, python manage.py, run server, enter. And after I run the server, we don't have any issues in our application, and below is our web server link. Let's run the server, control plus mouse click. And here we got the final output. Notice the header tags, below that we got the radio buttons and one drop down list, which is a select option element. Below that the table is displaying all the records from this table. Now let's find out, I want to search records, the male employees on the programmers. The occupation is programmer, I am selecting. If we check in the table, the occupation programmer contains 2 males, 2 females and 1 male. So I'm expecting only 1 male here. Oops, here I forgot to add the button control. Let's add that one also. Sorry for that. After the select, we'll add one button control. Input type is equals to submit, and the value is such. Let's close this button control. Now let's save this file. Again switch over to the browser. Now reload the browser. Now let's check the final output. Here we got the header tags. After that we got the options to search functionality, 2 radio button controls and 1 drop down list with the button control. Below that we got the table which displays all the records from this EMP table. Now let's search the records. I want to search the programmer, only male programmers only. If you check in the table, the occupation, the programmers, there are 3 programmers, 2 females and 1 male. So I'm expecting only 1 male. Click search. See here, 1 male. If you want to search the female programmer, see here we got the female programmers. Let's search for the HR, female, search. We don't have any female HRs here. So now let's search for the female HR, male HRs. See here we got the male HR. That's it.